Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me. Here we are, March 1st for some of us. It's March 2nd for others. And just happy Monday. Again, it could be happy Tuesday for you. And I thank you so much for taking the time to join me for this live stream and any other live streams that I do. This one in particular is going to be particularly special because we have guests from literally around the world joining us in real time to talk about the respective backgrounds and artistic things that they do. So I've been looking forward to this one ever since it actually became a reality. And here we are talking about it. And I won't belabor the point for too long, but a few housekeeping things as always. I want to thank those that have made tips and donations, which I should put the link here just so people know. This is only if you're so inclined and if you're in a position to do so and you'd like to. For February, I want to make sure that I thank Ken ×2, who made 2 donations. Yolanda made 2 donations. Dale, Roger, Jason, and Carl, thank you so much for making donations to help me keep these live streams going because this service is not free for me. Every donation, every tip, every dollar helps. So just letting you know, and we are in a new month, so that means I'm gonna have to come up with the money again. But thanks to these fine folks, I am good to go, and clearly I have things coming up. So if you've been following the last like 2 months, or basically the start of this year, I've been doing a lot of virtual interviews with musicians. That's where Eclectic Arts started. That's the foundation of Eclectic Arts. And I can tell you that this month in March, this is a good example of it. I'm going to be doing things that are related to film. I just got a huge list of things related to television, that there's some interview opportunities. And I would be reviewing the Seattle Opera again. They're making something virtual available to me. So it's nice that there's going to be kind of the eclectic aspect of Eclectic Arts is coming back in a big way. And as much as I can not cram into it, but as long as I can make things happen, I'm going to do so. And I love doing this. I'm extremely passionate about all the artistic folks that I get a chance to talk to and the things I get to do. So it's a nice way to move into March and move into spring. If you are in the chat and you want to ask a question of my guests coming up, please do so. We love getting your questions. And I will make sure to put them either on screen or ask the guests as we go along. I have blocked out 90 minutes for this virtual stream to make sure that I'm being mindful of everyone's schedules and commitments and things of that nature, including my own. And that's kind of where we're at. So just a little bit, let me take this off so we're not looking at this forever. I can tell you that I love it when an idea becomes a reality. And this is one of them. This concept really sprung from the Fun Table sessions where I was trying to come up with something that was something similar where you're bringing artistic and creative-minded people together. This one has a little bit more of a theme structure. I did a music symposium a little over a week ago with 3 up-and-coming music artists. That was wonderful. And so now I'm looking forward to doing this, but we're talking about film. And again, I reached out like, how would this work if we have people that I would love to talk to again and have them in the same room? Virtually, we can do this. So here's one of the silver linings, one of the pluses of this that we've been working with for the last year and some change in terms of making things happen virtually and meeting people from, again, literally around the world. So I've talked enough. This is the Director's Symposium, and I'm going to bring in all of the guests at the same time. I do have a couple things to kind of maybe round robin throw out there to the group, and then we'll just kind of see where it goes. And then when it gets to 2:30 here in the Pacific Standard Time Zone, then that's when I will wrap things up and we'll go from there. And so let's move this. I always forget to do this. Come on, Mark. There we go. So joining me today, let's see, ladies first. We have Christy Anna Wu, who's from the United States. She's actually here local, at least for the time being. I'm not sure if she and her husband are planning on relocating or not, but for right now, she's here in Washington State. We have Peter Mackey Burns from Scotland. We have Stefan Hacker from Germany. We have Samuel Bartlett from Australia. And last but not least, we have Hayden J. Wheel from New Zealand. So let me bring them all in one at a time, and off we go. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Kia ora.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Mark.
Thank you so much for joining me. Again, this is so freaking awesome when I see all of these screens with all of these talented people from other parts of the world in different days and time zones. And here we are going to be talking about films and whatever kind of things pop into everyone's heads. And again, thank you so much. And what I'd like to do just to start off is kind of round robin this, and we'll maybe have ladies go first. We'll start with Christiana. If you can kind of talk about latest projects, things you've been working on, maybe some things that are coming up, could be film, TV, screenplays, kind of where are you with things, and we'll kind of go from there, and I'll just kind of let people know when it's their turn. So Christiana?
Yeah, hi everyone. I am an emerging filmmaker, mostly in indie narrative films. I'm also a musician and an artist. We just finished releasing my first short film, Alvin. You can view that on YouTube or Film Shortage or shorted.com. So just several platforms there. Aside from that, I have started working on kind of the ideas behind a TV pilot as well as a feature film. But definitely rough around the edges.
Okay, great. And Peter?
Oh, hi there. I'm a director who dabbles a little bit with writing. So in the last 9 months, I've had lots of writing projects on the go. But I've made 2 movies. My next movie is out for funding just now, so I'm hoping to shoot my new movie in the autumn. Fingers crossed, of course.
Okay, great. And we'll go down to Hayden.
I am an independent filmmaker, same as you guys. I just released my second feature film last year, very independent, pretty low budget. And we've got irons in the fire, multiple scripts that we really would love to make. And just going to see what happens, I suppose. Just going to kind of keep writing and see if we can shoot something again soon.
Okay, great. And we'll go over to Stefan.
I am a commercial director and post-production supervisor, and I released my first self-financed made indie feature early last year. And after that, in the pandemic, I went to writing, as everybody did, because there was no chance to shoot anything. So it's still open if there's anything coming out of that. But of course, I want to keep continuing making features.
Okay, awesome. And Samuel?
I'm also a writer and director. Peter, I think you said that you're a director who dabbles in writing. I'm more of a writer who dabbles in directing. But writing is definitely my forte, and I'm moving into the world of directing. I feel like I've done my 10,000 hours of writing, but doing 10,000 hours of directing is, well, I think Mick Jagger once said he felt really sorry for people who make films, because he wakes up, he has an idea for a song, he grabs his guitar and he goes. Whereas we have to wake up, we have an idea for a film, we have to get 50 people together to try and make our passion. So I've just released my first independent feature film. It's doing very well, playing well around the world. It's sold to multiple territories, played at the Cannes digital film market, picked up a great sales agent there, and off the back of that, it's doing really well. It's available on Amazon pretty much worldwide at the moment, I think. Sold to a few terrestrial television stations in Australia and around the world. Also had a film starring Morgan Freeman that's just come out. Just in post-production at the moment, hasn't been released yet. So very lucky to get that made with such an amazing actor and such an amazing cast behind it. And at the moment, I'm moving into a new world of writing. I'm trying to do a thing called tech horror, trying to sort of push the boundaries of a new style of horror, which I found, I'm not obviously the inventor of it, but I found that tech horror is a really fascinating world that I'm moving into. So that's kind of where I'm taking my writing in my next project.
I'm just curious, Samuel, can you talk, what is tech horror?
It's basically the technology-based horror that comes from technology. Like the zeitgeist at the moment is TikTok, or the zeitgeist is Snapchat, or what we're doing right now, this whole meeting, rather than 6 of us getting together in a room and having a conversation and filming it, we're all coming from different points around the world. I don't know if you guys saw a film by Rob Savage. It was called Host. It's literally this: 6 people get together, they're all friends having a Zoom conversation, and then it just goes paranormal activity. It just goes absolutely bananas, absolutely batshit crazy, but exceptionally well executed. And I think it cost him as much as it costs to make a Zoom phone call to shoot the film, and yet it got him a 5-picture deal with Blumhouse Productions on the back of it. You know, so the idea is to use the zeitgeist of modern technology and to interweave that with, or marry that with, you know, the stable of horror.
I see, and that kind of brings up. I'm thinking about what Hayden's film Being Dead, which is more of like a horror comedy. Do you have any interest, Hayden, in doing something that's more of a serious horror film, or are you kind of done with that and moving on to something else?
Oh man, serious stuff is hard for me. When I watch stuff, I really want to have a laugh. Like I've been watching WandaVision and really enjoying it until the latest episode. When it gets really serious, I don't know. Serious is great. I love it. I mean, you know, you got to have like an element of being grounded to stuff. But I think at the moment, I'm really loving kind of unashamedly emotional stuff. Like I rewatched the Full Monty the other day. It's a film from the 90s, set in northern England and starring a Scotsman. And it's in the lead. And it's just so unashamedly emotionally out there. Like I kind of love it. I kind of want to do rom-coms at the moment. I think everybody needs to kind of watch some nice, happy, light stuff. And I remember growing up looking at film worlds like Back to the Future and things. Like everything was so clean and nice, and like that's the world I want to live in right now, instead of lining up for quarantine centers and for testing sites and stuff like that. Like I kind of want to forget about that. So there's a long.
I think comedy is. I think comedic element of all films is very important. It's very difficult. I mean, when you're going pure horror, it's, you know, you can stay in the serious world if you want, but even the James Wan's and Lee Fannells of the world, if you go and look at their Insidious, you know, they have this comedic relief, you know. So, you know, you've got this entirely serious film up until the halfway mark, and then suddenly these 2 characters come in, they're just completely batshit crazy. So I think that the comedic element that you talk about is an important part of, it's a release. You know, if you're watching a film and it's just too serious, then yeah. And back to your point on the emotional connection of films, I think that if you don't have an emotional connection in a film, then you're not, it's just going to be superficial. You know, you need to create some sort of vicarious connection on the emotional level. That's why the Full Monty, I think it was one of the highest grossing films of that year as well.
Yeah, man.
So it just
I think
goes
it was like
to show
£3
that
million and it pulled in like 283 or something. It was insane.
it's insane. Yeah. So if you can create a genuine emotional connection, I think that's the idea of what we actually set out in film, is to elicit emotions. For me personally, when I watch a film, I sit down to watch a film to have an emotion elicited. If I don't laugh or cry or, you know, feel scared, or if I just sit through something, I don't feel like there's been any kind of connection. I don't know how you guys feel. Is that something that you guys want or need or look for in visual entertainment?
100%. Yeah.
I'm very late to lots of things, you know. I'm not sure why, but I'm watching a mixture of some TV shows from HBO that I've missed over the years, you know, and I thought just now might be an interesting time. So if I'm writing a type or working on a type of film or project, I like to entertain myself or divert myself with something very different, you know? And I've been going through a sort of strange mixture of HBO shows in the evening when I'm not watching sport. And I find, as you say, an emotional need or connection with something. I don't know if I'm just uneasy or a pushover as an audience member. I think it's not very often that I see something that I don't have a connection to these days. You know, there's so many great writers, shows. You know, most things I can connect with whether I stay connected with them, perhaps, is a moot point. But I'm watching a thing you guys may have all seen. I'm from the Dark Ages. A show called The Young Pope by Paolo Sorrentino. Have you seen this show?
I have not, no.
Oh, if you get a chance, it's worth looking. It's worth looking at. I don't think I would be so interested in the life of a young pope, but not being religious really in any way, shape, or form. But it's a really good show. I'd recommend you have a look.
That's the thing, though. I don't think that there's any subject matter it doesn't really matter what the subject matter is, so long as you create the emotional vicarious connection. So I mean that all comes back to when Mark and I were talking. I teach writing a lot, and one of the big components of creating a connection between your audience is using empathy beats. And so there's 4 different types of empathy beats that I talk about. There's the active positive empathy beat, where your hero does something actively good that we love them for. There's the passive empathy beat, passive positive, where your hero is a victim of circumstance, or something bad happens to them, or it's an undeserved misfortune, but we still love them because something bad is happening for them. And then there's the opposite of that, of course. There's the active negative beat, where your hero or our character does something actively bad and we despise them for it. But then there's also this is something that a lot of writers fall into the trap of, is they'll write passive negative empathy beats, where the character is ambivalent or doesn't act, and we dislike them because they don't do something that they should have done. They should have stepped in. They should have broken up a fight. They should have done something. So I think that all those the 4 different types of empathy beats are very important in as a writing style to creating the connection. So it doesn't really matter what the subject matter is. I remember watching, I don't know if you guys have seen The Hunt. I'm pretty sure it was a Norwegian film starring Mads Mikkelsen. Exceptional film. I mean, if I was to pitch it to you, it's about a guy who's wrongfully accused of child molestation. And it's like, man, I don't want to watch that film. That just sounds horrible. But it's probably one of the most emotionally connected films I've ever watched. So don't know if you guys have you guys got any sort of oddball films that you would never have thought you'd be connected to, but then somehow just through the skill of writing and direction? Christy, what about you? What's something that you didn't think you'd have a connection with, but you did?
It's kind of hard to say. Actually, the one film that really comes to mind is a film called The Platform. And I believe it was shot in Spain, and it's all in Spanish. And it was pretty much about a platform that drops down in a jail cell, in a vertical jail cell. And like, people only have so much food that they can eat at each level. And it's a really dark film. And like, I mean, I love dark stuff, but like I didn't really realize how much great social commentary it was until maybe like a third into the film. I was like, this is just like a dog eat dog kind of world, and it's crazy. Yeah.
Fantastic. I like the point you bring up there. I love it when a film can be making a social analogy or a social commentary, but packaging it in a way so that it's not overt. I find that sometimes when you watch a film and it's a little bit too on the nose, and sometimes I walk away from a film and I won't have actually picked up the social commentary. My partner will be like, "Oh, did you get this point? Or did you notice that?" I'll be like, "Aha!" And it's not until somebody else, maybe, I don't know. If you guys know what I mean. Do you guys have aha moments? Do you have like sort of after a film where you just like, a day or two later?
I always call them Trojan horses. Like any kind of lesson or smart little tidbit that's been snuck in through entertainment, I'm like, that's the good shit. Like, you want to make Trojan horses. You want to be like, that's kind of like a really interesting thing. I don't know if you guys think a lot about your audience before you start doing stuff. I don't know when I start thinking about.
When you say think about your audience, and how do you mean think, like, in what way?
As in, like, do you like do a clear demographic breakdown, so when you pitch to distributors, you can say like, this is for this segment of people, or this is a 4-quadrant film. It kind of hits everybody, or
I think you kind of have to do that going into any production, but it's I always find that such a strange thing, because I kind of feel like there's. You do it. You might say, oh, this is going to be more for the 25 to the 45-year-old age group. But I mean, I've made films that I've had 80-year-old women come back to me on some of my short films saying, oh, I love this. I really connected with that. I was like totally outside the demographic I would have expected. So
totally. Well, it happened with Dead, which is not a film for people who are older, you'd imagine. But then like 85% of the people that turned up to the cinema were women over 50. It was the strangest thing. Yeah, it was awesome. But I was going to say, like, I wonder if that's going to be the cool next wave. Like, how do you pitch a film to, like, maybe the scariest thing that's happening at the moment is like the radicalization of people on the right, or the radicalization of like straight white men who feel like they're left out. You know, like these are people that have a lot of perceived power that are potentially going to be really dangerous in society. How can you pitch a project to them that'll pull them in and get them excited, and then slowly teach them some lessons, like Trojan horse?
That comes. I was going to say that comes back to your Trojan horse, man. Just package the pitch in a way that they're going to love, but you slip in your as you say, your social commentary or whatever you want to put in there.
Like every dumb action film I go and see, I'm like, is this the like super woke film that's dressed itself? You know, a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's dressed up as going like, look, I'm just like a film about killing people. Come and watch me. And then you go see it, and you're like, oh shit, I want to be a better person.
Christy, I think back to your point on the Spanish films. Nothing springs to mind exactly. There was one I've seen. I don't know if it's part of the Spanish culture or not, but most of the Spanish films that I've seen seem to have an element of social commentary going on, done in a really sort of amazing, sort of an analogistic way. I don't know what you guys' experience have been, but the Spanish seem to be very tapped in. I don't know if it comes back to their national sense of national. I won't say national pride, but there's sort of almost their sense of independent pride. You know how there's the conflict going on between Spain and the name of the region, the Basque region. So I don't know if that's part of their, because they are. I think some nations are naturally more. I don't know. Would you guys agree, or maybe not? Do you think some nations are more naturally politically active? Like you go to France, Paris, where they have the yellow vest movement at the moment, where they're rioting in the streets, trying to, I don't know if you guys were aware of, they were trying to pass a law in France where they were going to make the fuel levies paid by all the population, the poorer population, and then they all just so furious that their fuel was going to go up, so they start rioting in the streets. I don't know if you guys, from around the world, perhaps where you come from, Christy. America, I think, is kind of on the world stage. You guys aren't. How do you feel? Actually, this is my general perception. How do you feel about the American ability to protest your government versus, and how that may pertain to feeding back into the stories that we tell in film?
Oh gosh, that's such a tough question, but also, it's a loaded question, right?
No, not at all.
I definitely, I'm definitely more, I'll just say it, I'm more on the liberal side. So I try to be very understanding of kind of everybody being different in this country and having their different needs and wants and basically having their different upbringings and experiences. And so when I see the government trying to, just in general, applying some more oppressive type of policies, it's very tough to understand and kind of work with and deal with, because there's so many different layers. It's so complex, so many different layers. In every single country, right? When it comes to the government. And I think it's been, for me, I've been more of a armchair activist, I'm not super, I don't actually go out and necessarily physically protest, just from a safety level, but also, but I'm
you're not storming the White House.
Yeah, no, not yet. Exactly. I'm I think I would die there. But it is, when the election was happening and leading up to the inauguration, it's, we were just face palming the entire time. We're just oh my gosh, why is this happening? When is it gonna get better? And right now it's kind of nice to hear that there's not a whole lot of news, egregious news, things are just kind of happening now, the policies are getting signed off on, and maybe there's some things here and there that are oh no, that wasn't good, even from a democratic standpoint, but we're doing what we can. At least from my individual.
Do you think that that's sort of going to feed back into the film, the way films are being told, the political nature feeding back into the stories that are told in film and television.
Absolutely.
Do you see that happening? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it depends on the topic. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about diversity and inclusion, for example, just as an example right now. And there's with the Golden Globes that just happened, I believe yesterday, there was like a lot of talk of, not having enough diversity on the board, and like, how are we going to bring more diversity into different films here in the, in American cinema. So like, even that's definitely one aspect of it. And then I know for sure for me, like when I come up with ideas or, want to do some sort of like, short films or whatnot, I always want to like bring in something that is related to a social issue or several, just because I hope that the stuff that I put out there resonates with people who feel like they don't get represented enough. So yeah.
Okay.
And
For sure.
I'm gonna jump in right here just really quickly because Christiana was talking, and I actually want to show her trailer to her project, and then we'll come back and we'll rejoin everything here. So, and I want to say hi to Industrial Girl, and Rain City is my mom. So,
Hi, Mom.
Hey.
So let me show Christiana's trailer to Alvin. We'll come back and continue the discussion. So hang on.
Alvin Cruz, the man.
I didn't do anything wrong.
You're a liability. You're self-harming with your binge eating. I'm just trying to help you.
No, you're not. You can't just take away my freedom.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Chrissy, what can you tell us about Alvin?
I mean, the logline for it is a man loses his freedom for the sake of gaining free healthcare, which probably isn't a problem for all of you guys in like countries. So, it's my dystopian take on a guy who basically gets taken advantage of, within the system.
All right. Nice. Well, as Samuel had brought up in the discussion we were having, prior to the trailer, I'm curious, like from Stefan's point of view over in Germany, that you've been doing a lot of work on television commercials, and so are you trying to put in like what Hayden says? Are there actually probably deliberate Trojan horses because you're trying to sell something to somebody, or what's it like for you in your world when it comes to what you do?
We, funny enough, we do not work for Germany at all. I think the last 3 years I did like 2 commercials for like Germany or Europe. Most of the time, me and my directing partner, we work for Arab countries, for Russia, for like stuff where you would normally not find a European director. And it is very tough, and you have to balance it out very carefully not to fall into any traps, which means show a little bit too much skin, show a hand, like the palm of a hand upside down or the other way, like show feature, like there's so much stuff you have to obey, because in Europe or in the US, in New Zealand, Australia, you would be like, I don't care. But in some other countries, you're almost so close to a shitstorm by doing something tiny. There was the storming of the Italian embassy in Cairo, maybe like 4 years ago, and it wasn't like, of course, it was a big thing because we had the Egyptian spring and stuff, but there was a conspiracy theory about the commercial we've released earlier for a cancer hospital predicting the incident of the storming. In that commercial, you saw a map like flat on a floor, and I stole the map from Google, which is the backlot from Sony, like just like a top view of the Sony backlot, and I just photoshopped a little bit and put it in. But by photoshopping it, it looked a little bit like the satellite view of the Italian embassy in Cairo. A little bit, with a lot of goodwill. And those people tear the project apart and said they're those 2 German directors who predicted this assault, and all of a sudden the agency and the clinic we did a commercial for was in a huge shitstorm. And there was no chance we could have seen that coming, because I just stole an image from Google and photoshopped it, so no one will recognize it. So no matter how you turn it, it's always dangerous anywhere in the world.
Brilliant.
That's mad.
Wow.
I feel like that's the problem with the moderns, with the world we live in, is that there's the billion eyes. You can't do. Everybody's going to find. So you can't, like, any project that's released, because of the availability of the internet. There's a billion people that are going to potentially be able to see it and dissect it and tear it apart, and and project their own whatever they want onto it. See what they want to see or find what they want to find. It's human nature, isn't it? We search for patterns. We naturally search for weather patterns just so we can survive. We naturally search for, like, animal patterns. So it's sort of ingrained in our DNA that we're searching for patterns. So I think that's a great example. Sounds mad. How did you survive it? What was the fallout like?
The good thing is, you're so far away. As a European, you just close down the phone and you're like, deal with it in your country. we were just servicing you. But the guys who actually dealt with, like, who came up with the project, they had to navigate the company through all that. It's after like a very short time, it always stays down quickly, because there's just another thing happening very quickly. But yeah, they have to deal with it. I wanted to talk about what you talked about earlier. The fact of dealing with what we're having now, whatever's happened in the US recently, in let's say the last half year. If you deal with it in Hollywood, let's say as a commercial filmmaker or as an indie filmmaker, it's okay, because Hollywood is pretty much totally understanding. They at least from our point of view in Europe, we think Hollywood is totally anti-Trump and anti-Republican way of seeing things. But if you look at it on a large scale, you need to have China on board these days. There's no big funding of any huge film without China. And then it gets interesting, because how far can you go with putting these themes and the Trojan horses into your films before they say, hey, you're not getting any single cent, you're not getting distribution in China. And then all of a sudden the studios will be like, can you think about your script once more? Can you take this and that out? And then I don't want to call it censorship, but then we are already at a point where you can't put themes like that into your movies anymore.
I think that my understanding is that you can recut for China. So you can shoot the story that you want to tell. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, big productions, they only really care about making money. It's a bottom line. If you're making a film over a couple of million, it's about making money. It's not about the artistic expression or the political voice that you want to make. It's about making money. So in that regard, the people that are putting up the money to make the films, they will bend to the powers that be to be able to explore the majority of the markets available. Very few people making a film that costs $20 million will not do another edit just for a principle. I mean, there might be situations where it does happen. I can imagine the Jewish community being very strong about a lot of the stories that they want to tell for obvious reasons. They're not going to recut the story about the Holocaust just to appease a government, to make a little bit of extra money. But in the majority of the cases, I can imagine that the stories, the producers will be willing to, re-edit. And I think there was a great example of that. I can't remember exactly. I think it was a Tom Cruise film where they basically recut. And they also actually shot, as to your point, talking about aiming for a certain market, the Chinese market in particular, they shot an extra, I think it was probably about 60 minutes of a 100-minute film just to be able to have a Chinese edit. So I think going into that, into the production side of things, it's actually a consideration. Some films, if you look at them, they'll do like maybe 50, 60 million worldwide, and then they'll do 400, 500 million on the Chinese market alone. So yeah, it's the power of the money will draw the creativity to that. Don't know what you guys' experience have been. I don't have any personal experience with that. It's just what I've been reading. I
went to China a couple of times with my last film. They really, really liked it over there because it had an Asian female in the lead. She was Cambodian background, New Zealand born, but still having an Asian woman face in a Western film was like a really big draw card. We
Was
also
that
had
a
Mulan. Sorry.
sorry, was that a did you do that intentionally? Was that like, okay, I want to try and aim
No.
for the Chinese market, or it just worked out that way?
Yeah, I just really liked her, and so I just kind of wrote the part for her, and she was awesome. And yeah, it was cool. Got to go there a couple of times. I got really well taken care of. I really enjoyed it. And then
China's
we
great.
have like a lot of people with a Chinese background here in New Zealand. Like 1 in 4 people, I think, now are Chinese in Auckland, the city that I live in. And my partner is Chinese Pākehā, which means mixed race, New Zealand white and Chinese Malay. And we had Mulan shot here just down the road with a couple of our good friends in it, and that was like a shit show of a like global, like political global repercussions for an entertainment, for what is meant to be an entertainment piece. But dead shit. We have reanimated corpses, we have gay people kissing, we have like a lot of stuff that was just a flat no, that's not going to get into any festivals, and I don't know if I'll be allowed back with any of my future films. So it'd be interesting to see how it goes.
So sorry, I'm confused. Dead played well in China, but then
No.
were...
My first film played really well.
Okay, sorry.
But
sorry.
Yeah, the second film, it's kind of like through all the contacts that I made over the last 5 years in China. They were like, cool, what's next? And I was like, oh, this film with some gay people in it and reanimated corpses of family members. And they were like, holy, there's just absolutely no way.
Would you, as a filmmaker, would you ever consider trying to tailor a story for the market, for the Chinese market? Would you ever consider going, just going to purely, would you ever try to sort of conceive of a production knowing that it was just, trying to get the widest audience that you could with that? Would that ever be something that feeds into your production process?
Yeah, this was most of the conversations we had with companies over there, was like, how do we make a New Zealand-China co-production that we can just please as many people as possible and like just make a really great film that makes a lot of money and makes a lot of people happy. And back to the Trojan horse thing, it's like, yeah, if you get a really wide audience, then you've got the ability to change a lot of minds, and you've got the ability to be a really positive influence. So that's always the way up. Like, how much do I sell my principles now to be able to like have a bigger effect and a bigger influence later? And in terms of activism, like, you get a lot more done like being Martin Luther King than you do being Malcolm X sometimes. So like, do you lead with love, or I don't know? It's like, I don't know. This is very political. What are you guys' thoughts on the death penalty? No, I'm kidding. I'm just like, how do we light this thing up? How do we stop?
I think that's actually quite an interesting subject. I think that even as you say, lightening it up, but that's another way. That's another Trojan, isn't it? Like if you can, I think it's really important for me as a filmmaker and a storyteller. I really want to try and make political comments. And one thing I love about Oliver Stone is how unashamedly he has gone. Oliver Stone could just be directing, $200 million blockbuster after $200 million blockbuster if he wanted to, but he's chosen the quote unquote indie route, where he is a major name director, but he's taking on he made the Snowden film. I mean, how many other big name directors would risk their career saying, do you know what, Snowden was a hero. He's not actually an American, dissident. He should be sung for the herald that he is. So I think that it's important in film to, as you say, be able to reach the widest audience. I think it's a really interesting concept you've raised, to be able to reach the widest audience, but being able to, and therefore being able to, get your concepts across and not be too upfront with your ideas, because I think sometimes it can turn people off. Just as a general question to everyone, have you ever written a story or a concept or pitched a piece where people have just like with Dead, they've just gone, nope? Has there ever been like a flat, that's too much for me response from any of your projects?
We once wrote a project, like just an outline, like a bigger treatment, for the Smiths production company, and it featured him back then, his son Jaden. Like he was pretty much right after Karate Kid, so we were still young. And producers told us right away, it's too much black people and too much water. And we were like, what do you mean? Yeah, this is
What a
this is
weird
like
combination.
all this happening on water. Basically, they said the same thing on 300 Part 2. They say the same to them, because then they went to shoot it dry, and all the water was done in post. But that's what they told us. Yeah, too many black people in there and too much water. You can't shoot that film. Period. That was it. What can you say
Wow.
against that?
Wow. It's
Wow.
it's hard. That's hard. That's very hard. I mean, I can understand the water side of thing. I hate water. No, I mean the shooting on
It's tough.
shooting on water is difficult. Yeah, it is difficult.
Totally.
It just slows down your production. I have a couple of films actually that are set entirely on water stages, and a lot of people love it, but the big flag is like, okay, it's instead of it being a 25-30 day shoot, you look at like a minimum of 45, 50, 60 day shoot. When you're shooting in water, especially, I've got a film set entirely in a plane submerged at the bottom of the ocean. So can you imagine that, trying to shoot literally underwater? Even pitching that to an actor, like, okay, cool, you're going to be in a water tank for 60 days. They'd be like, okay, no, thank you.
Nah, just shoot everything in slow-mo and put in some floating specs and some color grading. You'll be fine. I'll buy it.
Fix it in post.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in here. Let's get to the second trailer. And I'm seeing here, we're going to watch the trailer from our Scotsman, Peter. This is Rialto.
Oh.
A thing happened today. It was this lad. He hit me a few digs, took me wallet.
Why didn't you say Harry?
I didn't know how.
How long have you been with us? A lifetime, you could say.
Good.
Your job is gone.
Someone here to see you.
Who?
Somebody lad, I don't know.
What do you want?
Money.
Looks great.
That's the first time I've seen that. I don't watch any promotional material, trailers or anything.
Really?
Yeah, I don't watch them. The head of the company that I work for took me aside one day when I was making my first movie with them, and he said, "Listen, Peter, trailers, artwork, you have an opinion about these, but you're probably not an expert in them, are you?" I said, "No," and he said, "Even if you were, it's only going to lead to heartbreak for you. Why don't you give them to people who will sell your film, and you concentrate on making your next film?" So I took his advice, and I don't watch them, because I trust him. What can I say? Maybe that's an idiotic position, but
that sounds like a good collaboration move to me.
Yeah, so it was novel for me to see that there and to hear that music, which is, not in the film or anything, and to see to see the bits that they picked.
I think
do you guys watch anything you do again?
I love it. It's like a photo album. I like to revisit. Like,
do you?
Yeah. Although dude, that's an amazing looking trailer. It's a gorgeous looking film. You must be thrilled.
I shot it, I think, in 2019. I think it feels like the last year feels like a blur to me. We went to Venice. We went to from festivals, and before we were distributed in the cinemas, it closed. So it seems like the film is both new in a sense, or fresh, and really old now. So it's like it's a strange thing to see it there, because when you make a project, it's out in the world and you get feedback. Well, this one was odd. It didn't get so much because few people have seen it. So I suppose it'll always be a great memory of an interesting shoot, and to see the footage there was fun for me. But I've no.
Are you hands-on with the editing process, Peter?
Pardon?
Sorry. Are you hands-on with the editing process, or do you prefer to just stick to the directing side of things and then let an editor go and do their thing?
Oh no, Samuel, I'm in the edit every day. It's
Okay,
a very
great.
very big and important part of the process for me. I think
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Once we're at the premiere of the film, I'm done. Other than interviews, that's me. I never really want to see them after that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want fond memories.
It's difficult to create a film and be there every step of its production and then watch it again at the very end and have any kind of detachment from it. I feel that, every moment you're watching, you're like, okay, I remember this was the 5th take, or I remember that beat, or what about when this, there's all the baggage of the set that goes with it. It'd be nice to have one of those Men in Black little torches you can zap your brain completely and then just watch. Imagine being able to watch your own film with purely objective eyes. I think that'd be fantastic. You could really judge yourself then. You'd really be able to. I think it'd help you to improve as a filmmaker, because you wouldn't be smelling roses, as it were. You'd be like, okay, well, that's, you'd be purely seeing it from a new sound. Here's a thought. Have you guys ever written something and then come back to it, say 3-4 years later, and started reading it, and it's taken you a little while to realize that you wrote it? Have you ever created something that you didn't realize that you created?
I think some scenes. I think if I picked something out of the drawer, I can remember the idea, but sometimes how scenes play or things, then I'm surprised, often unpleasantly, I must say, but nevertheless I'm surprised by them, which is enjoyable, because at some level you can look back and say, oh my God, what the hell was I doing? What was I thinking of?
But that's the learning process, isn't it? I think we've all had that, and without that, you don't progress, do you? I mean, if every time you create something and you look at it, you think, wow, that's amazing. I don't think that self-criticism is the fastest track to improvement. I don't know who. Yeah. Do you guys agree? Disagree? Or
yeah, isn't it? It's like Ira Glass says that thing about shortening the gap between what you make and what you love. And it's like every project, you're getting a little bit closer, you know what I mean? Until you're actually making what you really admire. But I mean, by the same token, like I don't beat myself up. I mean, one of my I ran into an old filmmaking teacher when I was at the color grading suite, and he said, like, oh yeah, cool, I saw your film. It was a piece of shit, but on to the next piece of shit. And I was like, yes, that's exactly right. Like, that's how we all view it. It's like, hey, that was an amazing, horrible, like wonderful mess, and I can't wait to do the next horrible, wonderful mess.
Yeah, I'm definitely my own worst critic. Like I'll watch the film, like watch the short film over and over and over again and be like, oh no, the walls were fake. The floor was fake. Everything was fake. Everything was fake. And I can't, and that, that prop was made out of these items, and so you just really can't detach yourself. But I made so few film projects that I think I do remember like what I've done and what I kind of have put aside that isn't that great. I think the things that I surprise myself with is probably music related. So like when I do some jams with some friends, or like my bandmates, we'll record it, and then like 4 years later I'll listen back to the jam that we've done, and I'm like, oh, we just something really, it was kind of good, but it's also not that good, but maybe we can work on it, So those are the moments when it's like, oh, this memory was really nice.
Yeah.
I could kind of jump in there too really quickly, that I was looking through some of the previous reviews I'd done. Nobody here on this panel, but there was one that I did an interview back early last year, and I didn't recognize the person's name at all. I didn't have a clue who that was until I started reading through. It's like, oh, okay, that's who that was. And so if someone had shown that to me, like when I saw it yesterday, I wouldn't have known that I wrote that, or that I saw that, or I did anything related to that from the press media side of things. So it does happen, at least for me.
How long before you realized that it was you? At what point did you was it your reading? Was it a written subject or?
Yeah, it was a written review, and once I started reading like the first paragraph, then it started coming back to me about what this was and who this person was and that kind of thing. But I felt really bad. I'll be completely honest that I didn't know from seeing their name that that's the person who was a musician or an actor or an opera person or a ballet. Because usually I'm not like that at all. But it's like, yeah, I drew a complete blank on that person. But luckily,
you have been working like a crazy man for the last little while, though, haven't you? I mean, you've been doing hundreds of interviews and. So I think you've got. I mean, it's not like you're doing once a month sort of thing, are you? What is your work schedule? You're pretty mad, aren't you?
This is Livestream number 28 this year.
There you go.
And last year I did 105 from May to December. So
I think it's cool. I think it's okay. I think we can forgive you the one. It's okay. We still love you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm still going to beat myself up about it, but I appreciate the fact that I get to slip one past there. Let's go right into our next trailer, which is from Hayden, which is Dead, the movie.
Great film. Amazing film.
I woke up in a barn. Then I realized I was dead.
Neurological medication and
That's what makes talking with ghosts possible.
You can see me.
What happened, man?
Murdered.
That's a bumhole.
I need your help. I'm going to hunt the man responsible for my death and take him down.
what would you give to have him back again?
I didn't even make it in time to say goodbye.
Oh my God, Dad!
Listen, son, there are two feelings in this world that are completely useless, and one of them is regret.
I'm finishing this. No, Dad, come on, man. With or without you.
You're seeing this through.
I'm seeing this through.
Let's get to work.
Marble.
I'm here for marbles. You can do this, marble! We can still
Come to Daddy.
Are you staying with us?
You're looking so buff, your body. You're going to look amazing at your funeral.
Who are you?
I'm Dave Marbeck, and I can communicate with ghosts.
I mean, I'm no Bradley Pitt. Hey, man! Hey!
Hilarious.
Hello.
Very Kiwi humor. There's a very distinct New Zealand humor, I think, and that's it's very there. I love it.
Thanks.
I really like
It was also interesting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting because Hayden, you're also in your film.
Yeah, I love myself a lot, so I was like, yeah, I gotta be in there. No, I mean, I just wanted to work with Tom, who's the guy that plays marbles, and so this was just a idea that was born of us wanting to do something together and hang out together for a long time. Yeah.
It's funny how the genesis idea for stories can come from the most random places, isn't it? It's like you meet someone, they're like, hey, do you want to work on a project? Like, yeah, okay, sure. And then that's the starting point. And then now I don't know how long it took you to make your film, but, it works, for the next 6 months or whatever it is. It can change your life. A conversation can suddenly change your life. It's fascinating.
Oh, I love it. Like the amount of friends now, like people who I would want to hang out with that I didn't even know before the film, like Tammy, who shot the film, Kerry, this was their first feature film that she shot and then she edited, and then like the person that did the color grading, like she was amazing. Like there's all these people that we just, now they're like closest friends, and I'm like, this is the best. This is kind of what makes filmmaking so awesome.
On the flip of that, do you or have you met people that you would not want to work with again? not specifically from that film, but just along. No, everybody. You love everybody, Peter. You love everybody.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Good man.
As it should be.
I had a sound guy coming up on set once, in the morning on the shooting day, he was like 5 minutes late. He gave me his microphone and the headphones and said he'll be gone. And like, what do you mean? You're supposed to record sound today? Yeah, I have something coming up, blah, blah. He didn't even tell me like if it was a job, if it was a family matter. And he just went on. I still have his headphones. I never talked to him again since then.
That's
Wow,
amazing.
amazing. That's frustrating. It's because sound, I mean, there's some elements you can get by. I mean, production design, you can probably wing it, but sound, it's not like you can just go, okay, I'll just do this for the day. I'm sure it'll be fine. You need a professional doing your sound for sure. Frustrating. Did that pause the whole day, or did you have somebody on hand?
No, we didn't. We dubbed the entire day. It was fun.
Frustrating. Hayden, did you run into any major problems in the shooting or the production of your film?
I could talk 4 days about the problems we had. Oh yes,
really?
We shot it in the middle of winter, and I was wearing underwear as a ghost for the whole film. So it was like a really stressful, tough, uncomfortable shoot. We had like no money. It was nuts. Like we had like no money. We had people pulling out all over the place. Like we had our sound person was amazing, but like the conditions that they were working in were really tough. And I mean, we laughed the whole time. Like it was an absolute blast.
Okay.
And then it was mainly finance. Like we just had barely any cash, and so everyone was doing it as a passion project, which meant, if we have to wait for them to finish their day, so they can start work on Dead. For visual effects, for the color grade was done completely for free through a post-production facility. The sound design and everything was all for free, basically, for borrowed time. So that was the only times when it wasn't fun, was having to ask people, like, I know that you're tired and I know that we keep asking, but we do need to finish this film because it's been a long time. So yeah.
How long was your production process from inception to screening? What would you say your timeline was?
2.5 years, I think. Inception, maybe. 2.5. Yeah. So it was a long time. It was like
I don't know. You say this a long time, but I mean, I think in the world of film, I think 4 years. I've read somewhere that from inception to screen, standard is 4 years. From script development, script treatment, production. Obviously the production process, is actually usually 30 days or something. But how long was your shooting?
It was 4 weeks. Yeah,
okay,
4 or 5 day weeks, and I mean some of them we wrapped almost early every day because everybody was working for barely any cash. So we were like, we're never going to go over time. Like,
yeah, you got to be respectful.
Yeah, we were really cool. And it was like the most amazing crew. We started off with only 7 people and I was ADing it myself. I was like, we're going to keep this friends. We're going to keep this like, this is a fun project. And then by, I think, week 2, we had 25 people on set, which was so nice. Like, it wasn't because we needed them. It was because the wardrobe person wanted a helper for one day. And then that helper was just saying at the end of the day, like, is it okay if I come back tomorrow? Like, I'll bring my own lunch and stuff. You don't have to feed me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like, I'll find my own park. Yeah, and it was amazing. So, like, by week 2, like, word had gotten around that it was a fun set and that we were working with all these great comedians and, like, we had prosthetics every day with ghosts kicking around. And we have the New Zealander of the Year from last year. So she speaks like fluent Te Reo Māori, which is the native language of New Zealand. And she's like a patron of the arts. Like, she was a huge part of the film. She just did it all for free again. Oh my God, contracted for money later. But like, all these really beautiful things happened with the shoot that meant that we had all these people wanting to work with us, which was, that's the thing I'm most proud of, probably, creating all these great relationships. Gosh,
that's probably a testimony to you.
You know what I mean?
No, there's testimony to you as a filmmaker. I mean, I've been on sets before where I was working for free in my earlier years, and I just remember thinking, when this day's done, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not coming back. You're treating me like shit, So there's so much to be said. Even on paid gigs, you still have to treat people well. I mean, just because you're paying somebody money is what's that? There's a saying. There's a I can't quite remember exactly, but it's something along the lines of Okay, it'll come back to me later. Sorry, lost that. But it's basically the sentiment is that just because you're paying somebody money doesn't give you an excuse to to not treat them well. So it's as an individual, as a there's the professional element of filmmaking, but then there's also you're always working with humans. You need to always remember that.
That's right. We kind of had a great rule at the beginning that we were going to choose to be head of department and to be the crew, the fifth person on most people's lists. So like, again, we just had like, which I think everybody does right now. Like one of the agendas that we have is to upskill underrepresented minorities in the industry, especially the film industry is still very, very white and very, very male based. So we decided like that was one of our priorities. So if you're looking at a list of DOPs and you go through this, their experience level, when you get to a woman, she's like really far down the list because of just the way things are at the moment. So we were like, well, let's choose her because then on the next film she does, she'll be a little bit further up the list. And so that was our ethos for the whole shoot, which meant that everybody was there learning and it was their first time as the head of department or their first time doing this. So like that I think that created like this really awesome feeling of excitement every day and really fun stress. Yeah.
I think having people engaged in their position, so having people that love what they, like you say, giving somebody something that they're rising to rather than something that they're stepping down to. If you've gone for a DP whose last film was a paid $25 million gig where he got 250 grand for the piece, and then you ask them to work on this, they're going to bring 10% of their effort. Whereas somebody who's actually like, this is an opportunity, they're going to step up. They're going to, if you give someone the opportunity to shine, very often they will. I mean, personally myself, given opportunities coming up, I've definitely jumped at opportunities. And then now there'll be things that I'm looking at and like, oh, I can help you with that, but I don't really want to, so it does help to, to have people that want to be there, to be passionate. I feel that, I don't know how you guys are, but I feel like you feel that out in the initial meetings with people. Like you can get a vibe for, are they here because they kind of felt like they maybe owed their friend a favor, or do you guys do you feel, did you ever have a situation where you met somebody and it went really well, but then when you came to set and shooting, it went the other way? Anybody?
We had a night shoot once for this film I did, which was cold, which was long, but I would have never thought that these people at one point would just stop working and started sleeping somewhere. I was like, I would never, like, not without, I would always ask, is there something I can help you with? Even if I wouldn't be in scene, or even if I would just be like the fourth AD somewhere, because I would know the director is so tired, and if he's not making it through the night, we won't get out of here because these scenes need to be done. So I was like, okay, I definitely would try to stay awake or ask if I could help. And some people were sleeping, which I would not have expected from them. So it happens, yeah.
Wow, and let me jump in. Let's Stefan was just talking. Let's show his trailer for Ingenium as we roll through this.
想去菲林 Yes, that's very good. I am Guy.
Was macht ihr morgen?
Guy macht mir den Reiseführer und zeigt mir Bangkok.
Schön.
Please take the money!
Wer ist dieser Guy?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, this is so wonderful seeing like these gigantic films. That looked huge.
It took us quite a while to do it. We started in 2012. This Bangkok, Thailand stuff was late 2012, and it took years and years to finish it. Blu-ray came out last summer.
Oh man, congratulations! What a feeling.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's finished now? Are you done? Are you like you're happy you can put a pin in it, or do you still want to go back to it? Okay.
Absolutely.
Until Ingenium 2 comes out.
Of course, there's tons of stuff which I would do different. As all of you always look in a very critical manner on your stuff, but I'm totally happy with it. It's fine. It's
Fantastic.
done.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
Thanks.
It's a nice feeling being able to just know that it's done.
At one point, because I'm not in a fortunate position to have people cut trailer for me or do marketing and stuff, so I had to do kind of my own marketing and put stuff on social media. So I was like, no, if I have to constantly feed social media to get people to watch it, then at this point I did something wrong. Either it spreads, like the rumor that there's a nice German film which doesn't look German, because that's the biggest mistake that I wanted to avoid, that it looks like a dull, regular German film, which is, oh, come on, which it doesn't. I'm very happy it doesn't. It's just, whenever you are in the US, it always looks like, oh, awesome. They have all these cables hanging on the street. They have like so much stuff going on. And Asia has patina and texture. But if you're in Germany, everything's white and clean, and it's just, it's not cinematic at all. That was one of the big goals I wanted to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the trailer starts and you've got like, is it Thai speaking? Yeah, sure. Thai words. Yeah, so it's like straight off the bat. It's like, whoa, okay, where is this? Where are we? Who are these people? Where are we? That's awesome.
Yeah. Until this day, I don't even know what they're exactly saying. I just told them roughly because there's some more Thai lines in there. And I had the father of our sound designer can speak Thai, and I was like, can you tell me what they're saying to get the right subtitles? And he was like, I don't get it. That's kind of an accent I can't speak. So
great.
We guessed what it is. I hope they stay true to the script.
And wow. Stefan, I wanted to ask you just kind of off topic a little bit. How is your foot? The hazards of shooting that maybe the other folks can also jump in on if they had something that happened while doing their projects, because you're laid up right now.
Yeah. I'm also. We were in Turkey last week, and we're doing this commercial where 5 people are sliding down a mountain in a bathtub. It's for India, yeah. Which means while they're sliding down in the filled bathtub, they are singing and dancing. That's how they roll. So we shot all the exterior in Antalya, South Turkey, with drones and stuff, and then the singing and dancing in the studio. So we had this bathtub leveled up like 40 centimeters off the ground to be able to angle it, because it's there like going down a slope. And someone put the safety box off. So I'm standing right in front of it, talking to the actors, and just by shifting the weight a little bit, the entire bathtub, 5 people, 300 liters of water, everything's dropping on my foot. And we haven't even done a single take on that day. So there was... so the foot, like the toe was smashed and broken and stuff. And just a delay of 2 hours. My directing partner managed to continue, and I came back 2 hours later. And now I'm being taken care of by my girlfriend. And just when she saw it for the first time, she was like, oh, look at it. Now I can see how it is smashed from the bottom. I was like, I don't want to hear that. But yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. I'll never stand to anything close that people build that can fall or tip over or anything, because it might not be safe. And even though it's a super professional team, I mean, it's a commercial, so it's not like indie filmmaking where stuff happens because you didn't pay people to pay attention, but it still happens with the most experienced key grips. It just happens.
Oh,
wow.
I heard stories of in America where they were working really late nights on film sets and then driving home, and car crashes and what have you. So was this anything to do with fatigue or anything, or was this just bad luck?
Bad luck.
Okay.
Luck.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't lost your sunny disposition, Stefan. You still seem in cheery good spirits.
That's true. and basically in lockdown you can't do much more than sitting at home. So I'm just now sitting at home more flat than normally. That's just my difference.
That sounds
All
good.
right. Well, hey, let me jump in here as we've got about 16, 17 minutes left, and let's get to our last trailer, which is Intersection from Samuel. If this will work for me. There we go.
Hello, Jake.
Who's this?
You don't know me, but I know you very well.
Dad, help! Josh? Josh?
I have a gun pressed to your son's head.
What do you want, money?
No, Jake. I want to save you. Josh is going to be fine so long as you do everything that I say. The real test is, will you kill to save your child?
Anything but this.
It's either that or your son dies. What's it gonna be, Jake?
Is it gonna hurt?
Yeah. Love it. I feel like we're in like Saw territory. That's definitely like a Blumhouse vibe.
Definitely Saw vibes for sure. We pitched it as phone booth meets Collateral. So the idea is, I love the concept of phone booth where everything was, being forced to do something by someone, an external force, but I didn't want to set it entirely in one location. So we set it in a car just driving around the streets of Sydney. So it was very much a contained thriller, but not locked in one location. I don't know if you guys, I love contained stories where, the whole thing is you're just locked in with this one person. Did you guys see Lock with Tom Hardy?
Same thing, car, right? Inside a car.
Yep. Literally 90 minutes in a car. That's all this film is. It's 90. Well, it's not 90 minutes. He gets out of the car every now and then. He starts off in one location, then he's forced to drive to another location where he has to perform a test, and that's kind of the Saw element coming into it. In each different location, there's a different test that kind of teaches him the errors of his ways. The idea was to take sort of the kidnapping genre and try and flip it on its head, in the sense that the person that's done the kidnapping is actually the good guy. And the guy, the main lead, Matt Duran from The Matrix, he's actually the bad guy. He's actually the nefarious actor. He's the one he's done all these really horrible things. So there's actually another trailer that I much prefer that unfortunately Breaking Glass didn't run with for whatever reason in their infinite wisdom. But it gives you a little more insight into the actual storyline. And he's basically kind of this bad guy. He blackmails people. That's kind of his MO, is he gets dirt on people and he blackmails them, and he sort of takes part of their money or their business or whatever. And then he has this comeuppance where his son's been kidnapped, and he has to perform these series of events all around Sydney but each one is not about the event, and is about teaching him the errors of his ways. So each time he becomes more reflective upon his own mistakes in his own past, and the only way for him to sort of resolve the only way for him to save his son's life is to actually truly realize and try to, as with Phone Booth, try to confront what he was doing wrong. So that was the idea behind it.
Amazing.
These films all look great. I'm really impressed. When I see films, I always think, wow, how did they do that? I could never do that. The cameras in the right place.
I was looking at your trailer just thinking, my gosh, the acting's exceptional. I was just like, wow, this man can really direct performance. That's a beautiful thing, And I think that's a really difficult, that's where I struggle, I feel.
Oh,
that's your easy part, that's my hard part.
No, just cast
Isn't it fascinating how
just cast good
right
people.
Just let them do it. Go on, act.
Yes.
And
I'm
go.
I'm
or
paying
just
you guys
cast.
good money. If I'm paying them top dollar, that's what I want. You know.
Right,
No,
for sure. No, look, there is a lot to be said for the casting process. I was really lucky. I've known Matt Duran. He was Mouse in the Matrix. You might not recognize him so well, but he's and he was in Home and Away for many years, and he did a lot of other things. But he's I've known him for 10 or 11 years now. We worked on about 3 or 4 films together, and so getting him to come on board for this film was, you know, you need, if you got a camera on someone's face for this film, which is 75, almost 80 minutes, you know, they have to be able to carry it. You know, can somebody, are they engaging enough to want to look at them for 75, 80 minutes? You know, it's like the only other characters that we have in that film are sort of overlays we're still in shot on Matt, but then every now and then somebody else you'd be talking to on the phone might just pop up as a little box in the corner of the screen. Apart from that, you're on one person for that period of time, and you have to have somebody who's a strong actor or actress, you know, to be able to do that. So, but I really liked your you can tell bad acting's, we're all so attuned to what's good and what's bad acting, and I was really impressed by yours, Peter, where you could just see the performance felt very real as well. I really loved that, you know.
You're kind of like we were talking about earlier on, guys. That's really kind of you. They're friends. Working with your friends is much easier. So the chap in my trailer, I'd made a movie before with him, and it's just so easy once you know someone a bit more.
Yeah.
I remember my first short film. There's an actress. Have you ever seen Home Alone 2? You ever seen that?
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've seen it, but I don't have.
Yeah, there's an actress in it called Brenda Fricker, a famous Irish actress, you know, and she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress back in the day for a movie called My Left Foot, you know, funnily enough about a writer. And she came, it was my first short film, you know, and I got this actress and she turned up. And I'd been to drama school and art school, you know, before. And this actress turned up in my first job for 3 days, and she was terrifying, you know?
Right.
Absolutely terrifying. I couldn't say anything. Everything I do would be the wrong thing. Would you like to walk through the scene? Would you like to rehearse? No. Would you like this for your lunch? No. This is your hotel? No.
Really?
Was, you know, oh yeah. And I realized it was just simply because she wanted to just push, you know, and we've all had them, haven't we? We've all had the person. But she taught me one brilliant thing. She taught me, she said, if you make me wait before I come on the set, if you tell me you're ready for me and you're not ready for me, if you use up my energy, if you rehearse me, you're not going to get a good performance from me. And she said, don't rehearse your actors, you know, don't tell them stuff they do not need to know. Don't bother us. We know the character. Let us work. And I was young, and it was such a sort of slap in the face, you know, from what I'd been taught before.
Yeah.
In 3 days, it made me actually do a volte face. And I realized early on, oh, wow, this person has taught me more about the process of working with people from someone who knows more about the process than I do, you know? And I found that although I don't behave like that, when I meet people who do, and we all meet different types, don't we? I found it was really useful to see what do they bring, you know? How can I incorporate them into this? And she said to me, the best actor you ever have, Peter, is the one that's standing in front of you. That's the one. And I think she's right. You know, I tried to work with her later on another movie, and a little short film done well. You know, it did all the festival stuff. And we'd email her and we'd call her, we'd ask her to come to Berlin to the premiere. We'd ask her, no. No, not interested. It's a job, she said. You know, it's your life. It's a job for me. Good luck. I may see you in the future. And I thought,
sure.
Okay.
But it's nice to meet different people like that.
Yeah. I'd work with her again in the drop of the hat, though. You know, what she brings.
But that's really good. Why would you work with her again?
Because what she brings to the project is brilliant. You know,
great. Yeah.
I think that what she says, yeah, of course. What she said about don't waste my time. I think that I learned that on my film. I and also don't rehearse me too much. One thing I like to do, I don't know, everybody's got their own process, but one thing I like to do is rather than rehearse the scene where the actors are acting it, I like to get them to walk it. So I ask them to read the lines, just say the lines with zero emotion, zero performance. Like, and sometimes the actor will slip into performance. I'll be like, no, stop, don't perform it whatsoever. Just walk it, just so that they've done it in the environment and they feel more comfortable in the environment. And then when they come to performing it, it is more of that, you know, that first and second, the real emotions. My actor, Matt, came to me and he said, look, on some nights where he really had to go deep and he was really breaking down in the scene, he was like, look, mate, make sure you get this on the first take, because I don't know if I'll be able to give you another one. You know, and he was right. Like we do 6 or 7 takes, but when we're in the edit, invariably the first to second performance was the strongest. And then after that, it felt like he was doing a performance of the original performance or a replication of the original. So, you know, it's, and I mean, every actor has a different process. You know, there are different actors who can just nail it every time. And, you know, that's their style and that's their process. And they can almost, it's like acting is not reacting for them. It's more like mimicry. They just created this character and they're mimicking themselves, but they can do it every time. Whereas other actors are more of the moment, you know, so everybody's got their own style. But I found that, you know, my biggest error I made on set was to not give the lighting enough time to set everything 100%. So I get everything ready. Okay, we're 100% good. Let's go. And I get the actor to go, and the actor is in their moment. And then we're going, okay, guys, Matt's still in the moment. Let's go for another take. But then the lighting would be like, just need 5. I just need 10. And Matt was like, dude, this is throwing me. Like, I'm in the moment. I can give you another take, but I've got 5 seconds before I need, you know, we're on a digital camera. There's no on and off. Just let's roll another one. And lighting's, no, I need to faff with this. I need to faff with that, which is fine because lighting needs to look good. But I learned that what I needed to do was by giving the actors that walkthrough, just say, okay, walk it. Let's film it and walk it. This is what's going to happen. And that gave lighting a chance to go, oh, shit, he moves over here. We need to relight that spot. Oh, didn't see that. You know, that was my biggest learning curve. As Chrissy, what was your what do you feel like was your biggest learning curve on your short?
It was my first, I would say it was my directorial debut. So I did like a 48-hour short film before that, and that was actually probably the one that I learned the most on, because there was a lot of continuity and whatnot issues, like working with new people and just working with a bigger crew. I think what was tough for me was stretching myself too thin, because I was also producing at the same time. So I had everyone coming at me for multiple different questions, whether or not it was related to the creative or not. It was, you know, so it like whether it was related to catering or whatnot. It was like I was just talking about too many different things. And what I ended up learning was that, so I had talked to the talent, to my lead actor, TJ Alvarado, later on, and I asked, you know, do you have any feedback for me, you know, as a first-time director? And he told me that I didn't dedicate enough time to the talent, so I wasn't spending enough time with them, and that I was just multitasking way too much. And so going forward, I know now that I need to assume that role a lot more like as a priority, you know, and make sure that I dedicate enough time to the talent so that they can have their best performance, you know, based off of my direction or not, you know. And it's just like making them feel important because everybody else is like doing their job and they're like trusting your team. And it was just it was good feedback for me, and I'm excited to get back out there when we can.
Fantastic.
That kind of brings up a good. We're getting close to the end of our symposium here, but I want to kind of go around just like we started. So I know we are in a pandemic lockdown situation depending on where you're located. What do you have coming up? Is there anything you can plug? This is your chance to do it in the next few minutes before we say goodbye to everybody. So let's start down. Hayden, let's start with you, and we'll kind of work our way around.
Great. Well, we shot another film last year, a horror. This was Tom, who played the lead and who co-wrote Dead with me. He wrote and directed this one with I think he had 8 times the budget than I did. But I was really lucky because one of his second lead dropped out. And so he called me and was like, can you take 5-6 weeks out of your schedule, whatever you're doing, and come and be in this film instead, which is the dream phone call to get. So as I'm just an actor in that film, it's called Loop Track. It's a horror film about a businessman having a breakdown, just walking into the New Zealand bush and then being followed by some kind of a creature. It's like a really, really fun, it's meant to be a straight horror, but we ended up like having too much fun making it. So it's got a lot of comedy in it. And yeah, so that's great. And then like, I'm just making ends meet by editing. So I'm cutting a Netflix film at the moment, and that's shooting in New Zealand. And then I think we've got like 14 Netflix productions in New Zealand this year because we're safe to shoot in. So it's insane. Like, everybody's upskilling in New Zealand, Aotearoa, so we're really, really pleased.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Let's go up to Peter.
Hopefully shooting a movie in the autumn in London, I think, the next one. I haven't cast it yet, so that's where I am with that one.
What kind of film? Feature?
Feature. Probably mid-budget feature. I'm cast dependent, just waiting to hear back just now. Same producers as the first 2 films. Whom I hope they aren't watching this. They won't be, but they're very dear friends. I love working with them. So I left the office a year ago. I haven't stepped foot back in, so I'm looking forward to going back and seeing them and starting this process over again. And making some new mistakes, hopefully.
The best kind.
Nice. And we'll go over to Christiana.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of writing some new things. So nothing major. Hopefully working on some little music video shorts, and then potentially thinking about doing an animated, like a 10-minute animated short. Yeah. And then that's where it's at right now.
Okay.
Good luck with the animation. It's an amazing process.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah, we'll go down to Samuel.
I'm waiting to hear back from the same production team that did a film with Morgan Freeman. They want me to shoot another film. So if that happens, that'll be a major step. But if not, still working on my own projects in the meantime. Got the tech horror I mentioned before, and also working on a coming-of-age comedy that I want to push with Netflix, Amazon. So yeah, nice projects. It's interesting jumping between horror and comedy. So it's fun. Or you can combine them both, can't you, Hayden?
Nice. And we'll go to Stefan.
I'll just do some post-production on the toe-breaking commercial we did for the next weeks. And we're just delivering a concept we wrote for Netflix next week, and I'm reading a Netflix pilot from Turkey at the moment. So either none of those projects will be happening, then it's just a regular slow year in the pandemic, or maybe they're all happening, then it's a very busy winter. Let's see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's hope it's busy. Hopefully it's busy for everybody. Hey, so Christiana, Peter, Hayden, Stefan, Samuel, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This has been amazing for me. People that are watching this in real time, thank you for joining us. People that watch it, down the road when it's convenient for you, thank you for watching this. Check out all of their work, and you can look them up on IMDb. You can look at the trailers are on YouTube, and I loved all of them. I wouldn't have had these guests here if I didn't, and I'm looking forward to everything that you guys do in the future. And if you have anything ever that you want to talk about, plug, or just update, I would be more than happy to talk to you guys individually and keep things moving.
Cool. Thank you very much, Mark, for organizing everything.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing this.
I'm going to check out all your films. Thank you.
Likewise.
Same here.
Look forward to it.
Ditto.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you.
afternoon
Thank you.
or wherever you are.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, everybody.